What is the worst/weirdest favor a friend has ever asked you for? Coworker asked me to help him bury a body. Turns out his grandfather was to be buried on their farm and I was the only guy he knew who can use a backhoe. Even weirder, his grandfather wasn't he dead yet, and not only was he walking around and talking, he brought us out iced tea and Diet Coke while we dug his grave. He died like 5 days later. Not something a friend asked of me, but something a friend offered to help with. Had a lingering smell of rotten sewage in the house. Was a bit short on money at the time, so I called a buddy who can fix anything to see if he could figure it out. He identifies the issue right away and crawls under my house to find a previous owner used Drano, and must have not done a proper flush, so it ate away the main sewer pipe. At least 6 months of shit, piss, and food was built up that was probably 4 inches deep. He went to his truck to put on his boiler suit and crawled through my girlfriend's and my shit for 2 hours replacing the rotted pipe. I was down there with him trying to help however I could, but he pretty much did the repair solo. Every time he encountered a thick chunk of poo, he would yell up through the crawl hole that my girlfriend should ease off on the corn. Didn't he phase him one bit, and he wouldn't accept any form of payment even though I insisted I had to repay him somehow. Best friend I've ever had. This isn't the only example I could give about how great of a friend he is, but definitely the wildest. Damn the man, you the real MVP if you ever see this. Back in the old days, had a paranoid friend pay me good money to rent out and dupe porn VHS tapes because he didn't want a record of him renting them out. His logic: if he ever became famous, he didn't want a record of him renting out porn tapes. Postscript: he never became famous. Walked in on my boss in the men's room. He pleaded with me to help detach his sack from his zipper. I got him free. So much blood. We never spoke of it again. My best friend is a huge guy. He is 6'9" and 250 pounds, but he is incredibly scared of ghosts, and he believes there is ghosts in his house, even though I've assured him numerous times there are not. Every time he has to go in his basement, he calls me to come to his house. He lives alone, to go into his basement with him while he does whatever he needs to do down there, like getting stuff out of storage, flipping an electrical breaker, etc., even if he only has to go down there for a minute or two. We in our 20s, and as funny as I think it is, every time he calls me to come with him to his basement, I always show up anyways because that's what friends are for. You would never think such a huge man would be so deathly scared to go in his basement alone, but I love him to death regardless.